Good, man.
Good.
I've been
What's up
busy.
with
It's
you?
been a lot going on the past few days, but I'm saying I'm here.
What's going on, bro? How you doing, my man? Uh, Doing good, doing good. Okay, so we're gonna jump right into it. I told everybody on here a little bit about what we're talking about. With three grown men, we're gonna have a respectful and intellectual conversation about the glitches and some of the cultural issues that we might have and how those things might be portrayed on YouTube. Just to set the stage. King Von documentary came out on Trap Lord Ross's YouTube a couple of days ago. It's been maybe like 3 or 4 days now. I watched his entirety. I watched everything that he does. And while a lot of people liked it and thought it was informative, there were a lot of people from Chicago, King Dave being one of them, who thought that it wasn't either in poor taste or a little reckless. I know that Ross has never been someone to run from criticism of his work. And I know Dave is somebody who has a tremendous amount of interest and equity in his community and is a pillar there. So I want to provide a forum for you two guys to talk about it. And maybe we can get to a larger point of what the responsibilities are when we're covering areas like Chicago or other places like that. So that's all the talking I'm going to do. I guess the way I'm going to kick it off is I'm going to ask Ross, like, what made you want to do this documentary? And just let you guys know, it's called King Von, hip hop's first serial killer. And then after that, you guys can
Appreciate that, man. Good to be here with you both. Appreciate you, Van, for holding this, and you, Dave, for pulling up and having an open conversation with me. The reason I made this video is I've always been a huge fan of Von's music. I'm just a random dude in England, a million miles away from Chicago. But this guy's music impacted me. His songs were pushed to me through YouTube, Spotify. There was a time when I'd never heard of King Von, and then there suddenly I heard of the guy, and then suddenly he was all I was hearing about in the rap game. This guy with his amazing raps, these sort of deep, very layered songs all about murder and people he had supposedly killed. I was listening to these songs and kind of just thinking, like, is this true? Is this cap? Is this real gangster rap? You might remember, like, right at the start of my documentary, I kind of break down sort of like the history of gangster rap and how people are always looking for the new real artists. They're looking for the realest rappers, people who are really about what they say. When I first heard of King Von, I started listening to his music. It was kind of hard to believe that some of what he was saying was true. I started looking into him, and I was already making YouTube videos about kind of rap history at this point. And I ended up making a couple of videos about Von. And it was interesting because we're talking about 3 years ago now. But, I had Von and his team kind of reach out very aggressively, kind of threaten me and press me to take specific references to the murder of KI out of the video. And it really shook me up, to be honest. It really made me feel like, damn, I've stumbled into the path of, by his own words, a real killer. And, he's making this music about these real crimes. So I'll be honest, I kind of stopped talking about Von after that. But as time went by, his star continued to rise. He became a bigger and bigger artist. He's having songs on the Billboard charts, gold and platinum certified songs and projects featuring with Lil Durk, one of the biggest artists in the hip hop game, in the whole hip hop sphere right now. So this guy was kind of really pushed to me. And then, just over the years, I just slowly looked closer and closer into the stories behind his music. A lot of people have made videos and documentaries about Von, the murders he allegedly had something to do with. And, nearly 3 years has passed since he passed away. And I just kept looking into the guy. And at a certain point, I began to feel like, what, this guy really is the real deal. It seemingly did all this stuff that he rapped about. He seemingly was a killer. He said himself that he's got 7 bodies. And it just got me thinking. And, I went away and I looked at the FBI definition of a serial killer. And I felt he fit that description. And, I felt like I decided to make the video about Von. I felt people had a right to know about the stories behind his music. These are Billboard charting songs that are being played on the radio for public consumption. And I felt like, I knew I'd put a target on my back with the video, but I felt like he did meet the requirements that the FBI have for a serial killer. And, I feel like I'm not involved in that life. I'm not in a gang. And I feel like, I'm just a guy on the internet consuming music, reviewing music, looking at song lyrics. And, you know, I didn't feel like I shouldn't be able to talk about this and put the documentary out. It's obviously gotten a big response, some good, some bad. You know, I'm not afraid of having the debate about it. And I know some people's feelings have been hurt. And I'm down to listen and maybe understand why maybe some people didn't feel good about the video. But that's my perspective. You know, the guy was super famous. He was charting on Billboard with songs talking about how many people he'd killed. And I think I decided to look into it and make a video.
I'll explain a serial killer to me. The definition that you received from the FBI.
So the FBI defines a serial killer as somebody that's killed 3 or more people with space in between each of the killings. So not going on a killing spree and killing 7 people in the same day. It's killing people with time passing. You got time to think about what you're doing in between the killings. And killing 7 people, I don't think makes you a serial killer. The other element of what FBI defines as a serial killer is the element of psychological gratification. So people getting something out of the killings, people getting a sense of self-esteem or a sense of excitement out of the murders, a sense of excitement about not getting caught. And I feel that really the time when Von could really be classified as a serial killer isn't when he killed all those people allegedly in the gang war. It's when he started rapping about it. It's when he started trying to convince the whole world that he had done this. He wanted the whole world to know that he had 7 bodies, as he said, and he wanted to continue killing people. He had that famous lyric where he said, killed some N-words, I'll do it again. You know, he allegedly put up $100,000 and arranged for FBG Duck to be killed after becoming a millionaire. So I think it's really not the fact that he was in a situation, you know, where unfortunately he was pushed into violence by circumstances of where he grew up. That's not what I think makes him a serial killer. I think it's unfortunate a lot of people are born into difficult areas and are forced to do things to survive. But I think when it came to Von, when he became famous and he became a millionaire, he kept wanting to tell the world that he had killed people. He seemingly continued to play a role in having people killed. I think FBG Duck is the prime example. There's also the example of Man, Can't Get Right, an individual who obviously was kind of gunned down, and King Von released a song within a week of that murder talking about my killers are catching bodies for me. So it's kind of like, you know, I think he meets the definition of a serial killer, not because of what he did in the streets, but actually because of what he did when he got out of the streets. He kept pushing this narrative that he was a killer. He kept trying to arrange for people he didn't like to be killed. You know, when he was a millionaire, he didn't need to put a bounty on FBG Duck's head. You know, he could have let that slide, and he did it, and he tweeted about it, and he wanted everyone to know what he had done. So to me, it's those 2 elements that make him a serial killer. It's not that he killed people. A lot of people are put in situations. I mean, DaBaby, Gucci Mane, there's a lot of rappers that have been unfortunately put in those situations where they've had to take a life. And, you know, it's not the same as rapping in a bunch of songs that you're proud of killing 7 people and that you'll do it again and that they can't play with you. You know, that's how I see it, but I'm open to hearing a broader kind of perspective.
My whole thing about it wasn't even like so much about King Von. It was about all the other cans that are being opened when these type of documentaries drop. All the other people that's been killed and people that's probably just sitting around that day, and you drop this documentary, then they go slide on somebody because you put a picture of one of their people in this documentary, and now you mentioning Von again. So it's like you re-wakening up the dead in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even think you know probably how many shootings that video probably in caused since the day it dropped. How many bodies probably in dropped because of that video. How much more gasoline have been added to that whole big issue. Even though it's going on, every time it jumps into the people's eye, it gets bigger. And somebody else build up more courage to go out here and do and commit more killings. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's deeper than just Von. Like, you got to think about Von kids growing up watching a video about their father being a serial killer. It's okay he rapped about it. Parents and they people can explain music to them because being an artist, you're a character. So I think the people that's like you, that's not really in this, not really from the culture, y'all take it as if, damn, this really Von. Oh, this really such and such. These people be characters. You ever seen Famous Dex? He be two different people. DaBaby, he be 2 different people. So just because Vaughn was just tweeting, oh, I want to catch a body, he could have been talking about knocking down a female or something. You know what I'm saying? Or he could have just been tweeting it. That don't mean that these things actually really be going on. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of people. Like I was on the phone with THF Zoo yesterday, right? Bay Zoo. Y'all don't even know these YouTube videos be having them people picking them up. Times when they spend time in the county and they fighting another case, y'all drop a YouTube video about a body. Them people come pick them up. He in the crib chilling or a little less sitting in doing his time. He getting picked up. All because of YouTube videos. And Vaughn didn't tell you, oh, I killed KI. I killed this person. I killed this, all speculations. But I understand, like, your whole point. Like, he put it out there for the people, right? But I just be wanting y'all to think about when y'all put these videos out about the people that's still living in these communities that can possibly end up shot, killed, or just a whole nother war. And it'd be like, y'all make y'all money off YouTube, y'all get so famous and y'all don't even care. But at the end of the day, we got innocent women, grandmothers, grandfathers dying off of you because of YouTube videos. And no, I mean,
because of me.
Your video, I'm pretty sure it sparked, because I've been on the phone with people and they was mad about the Lil James situation. Like when you put the wrong picture up there. That created something. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't really know what really came from that. You know what I'm saying? Because you put that body on Vaughn. Now, they slide on somebody from O Block and they ain't kill somebody over there now. All because you put the wrong picture up there. But you ain't gonna feel no sympathy from that. But that mother, that father, that daughter, that son, they gonna feel all of that. You feel what I'm saying? And I don't even want to say like no hater, like I'm knocking your video, because I'm really not knocking you. I understand what's going on, and I told you. If they get online and these rappers, they tell on themselves. But my whole point is be thinking about the bigger picture sometimes. And make sure you got real facts. Because if Bud didn't tell you this, you're right, it's all speculations. But just know you keeping the wars alive with everything that's going on. When you mention those 10 people, just know it's people on the other side sliding now. That probably weren't even thinking about sliding in O Block because why? They got other options. But now when you go mention Vaughn and they killed little such and such, guess what? Just know they were sliding. And people like you do be the cause for that, bro. And I just want you to know, while you make all your money and you chill in the UK, keep that on your mind. And make sure that you put some reserve funds away and you be sending money back to these neighborhoods to help bury some of these babies. Because that's how deep it is. Because it'd be a lot of babies getting buried because of YouTube videos. It's a lot of people getting locked up because of YouTube videos. And that was my whole point with my video.
So I'm gonna jump in real quick right here. Two things. Number one, I'm gonna say something for the people in the chat. I see Balo down there. I promise that this will be a conversation between these two guys. If Ross wants to talk to Balo later, or if that's cool with these two guys on the live, I'd love to have them in. I see what you guys are saying, so I'm not ignoring y'all. I do want to come back to Dave real quick and ask Dave something before we go to Ross. Dave, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have, I just asked you this, are going to have a hard time believing that there's anything outside of a specific culture that exists in Chicago that can be, that the violence there can be blamed on. Now, I was down there, I talked to you, and it seems like for people that grew up in certain parts of the city, there's just an understanding of how things go. So it's your belief, and before I move on to this, I'll say one more thing. It doesn't seem like any other rappers from the areas that they don't want. It seems like part of their reputation and part of their personal identity is to let people know the stuff that they're doing. So I guess what I would say, the first thing I would jump out of is it okay when they say that they're killers and they want to kill people inside on their ops, but not okay when somebody else who might be covering them says that that's what they said. Like, what to you is the difference there? Is it the fact that they're in the lifestyle, or is it the fact that guys like Ross
It's
and
both.
other people don't have any connection to
It's the
Chicago?
part with the rapper telling on himself, you know, as I spoke about. But it be more of the instigating to me. Like, you ever been in a situation that was kind of like if somebody just shut up and it diffused the whole situation? But it be the whole thing of how they just start really
Of
glorifying.
course.
Like, I feel like even him, he infatuated with it. People are infatuated with all this killing until they're in the middle of it. Until you hearing them switches going off. Until you getting your brother picture on your t-shirt. Then you ain't infatuated with it no more. There's really a way of life for black people. And it's sad, you know? But I just don't like when it's really being glorified like that. Because it's like sometimes just shh. That's kind of like trying to let it die down some. And then they come with these big documentaries. Oh, this person the #1 killer. Oh, the #1 sniper. And then it'd be like, come on, man, be quiet. Like, you know, we do be trying to bring some type of peace with it, even though we're a long, long way from it. But it's like the instigating, it just get on my nerves, and it get on a lot of people's nerves. And it's like, we're not telling you don't put your work out. No, put your work out. We understand that. But when you do put in your work out, be thinking about the other people. And that's like my whole point. I don't have no beef with them. I don't hate them. I don't feel like that. I just hate when I just be seeing these wars and all these bodies. And in Chicago right now, it's more females are dying like the guys now. Every time you look on Instagram or Facebook, I'm seeing women. And it's sad. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I know all of that is fuel to the fire. So it's like, come on, man, we don't need all that right now.
Ross, you got as much time as you want to respond, and I'm gonna come
Cool.
back.
So, I mean, Dave, listen, I respect where you're coming from on several of your points, and I think that you know, I understand why you feel this way, but I think my perspective is just slightly different. I do disagree with a lot of what you just said. I think the first thing that I got to say I disagree on is, you know, the idea that people are sliding behind my video. I just disagree with that, and the reason I disagree with that is because, one, people don't slide about something they heard on the internet. Like, the people don't slide about a YouTube documentary. They slide about one of their homies got killed, one of their friends got murdered in cold blood. You know, how do you explain all the sliding that went on last week before my video came out? You know, all the different things that have been going on in Chicago. You can't really take that stretch and blame it on me and say people are sliding about my video. Like, I'm not exposing information that's not already out there. Like, this is all stuff that was on King Von's Twitter, in King Von's songs. I think the idea that you're going to try and pin violence on me